One of the most exciting concepts in Haikyuu is something set up in its 4th season. The concept that certain athletes are just born to play volleyball. Players that feel like they need to be on the court just to survive. The concept of the monster generation. Of the 6 members of the monster generation, one stands out in particular, a player of unmatched skill but also someone who fails to treat others with any respect. A player that is shunned by his own team. Tobio Kageyama is undoubtedly one of the most talented players in Haikyuu, and yet, despite his immense skill, we're reminded time and time again of his shortcomings, of his failure. So what happens when this Tyrant King is dethroned? Does he crumble under defeat or rise again transformed?
セッターはチームの司令塔だぞ。試合中一番ボールに触れるのがセッターだぞ。支配者っぽくて一番かっこいいだろうが。
Wait. Let's quickly get something out of the way. The words genius and monster. According to the show, a genius is someone born with a supreme talent for volleyball. A monster is someone that realizes this talent to become a truly world-class player. Therefore, the monster generation is a collection of these young, talented, world-class players. Now then, is Kageyama a genius? Yes, without a doubt. But is he a monster? Well, that's a tough one because he has so many flaws. His journey doesn't start off on the best path. He had extraordinary talent, yes, but lacked a certain crucial skill that any player needs to be truly great. A skill that's honestly really basic. Teamwork. Volleyball is played with 7 players. Good teamwork isn't optional. It's a necessity. So, how can anyone be a genius without this skill? Are we looking at a failed setter in the making or the early stages of a monster? Kageyama's nickname, King of the Court, wasn't just a title. It was a testament to his relentless pursuit of victory, even at the expense of team harmony. But what does King of the Court mean exactly? Sure, we know it was given to him because he played volleyball like a tyrant, where his obsession with winning overshadowed his responsibilities to his teammates. A style of play that said,
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
Let's compare Kageyama's initial phase with his old teammate and current captain of Aoba Josai, Oikawa Toru. Oikawa, with his charismatic leadership and empathetic setting style, seems to embody the ideal setter. And yet, he himself admits to feeling threatened by Kageyama's sheer talent. Despite being on a team with a player like this, Kageyama could not have been more different. He constantly berated his teammates for not living up to his standards and for not keeping up with him, which led to him being given the infamous nickname. He was a tyrannical, egocentric king who would never settle for anything less than perfection from his teammates, and who disregarded anyone that wasn't able to keep up with him. But I mean, be honest, if you were by far the best in your team, and I don't mean just volleyball, it can be any sport, football, tennis, anything. Well, I suppose tennis isn't really a team sport, so I guess you could be playing doubles. Anyway, let's say you're amazing and everyone around you was dog poo by comparison. You'd get pretty annoyed too, wouldn't you? And you can probably guess what happened next. His teammates lost faith in him, and his coaches lamented his wasted potential. So what did Kageyama do? Well, he did what any 12-year-old would do. He never wanted to feel that way again. So after joining Karasuno, he changed. Kageyama never wanted to feel lonely again. And he didn't. He wanted to make sure his teammates were always there for him. And they were. Karasuno are without a doubt the perfect team for Kageyama. They taught him the importance of teamwork. He learned to let go of his ego. He became someone that rarely ever criticized his team, giving them the exact sets they wanted. He did his best to perfect a new quick. Yes, he did it so that he could improve, but he also did it to help his team, to help Hinata. So how did he do this exactly? How did he learn to be a more selfless setter? Well, he went to the person who, in his mind, was already a perfect example of that ideal.
現状がベストだと思い込んで守りに入るとは随分ビビりだね。勘違いするな。攻撃の主導権を握ってるのはお前じゃなくチビちゃんだ。それを理解できないならお前は独裁の王様に逆戻りだね。
After this meeting, Kageyama gets a new philosophy. He learns that he is there in service for his team, not the other way around. It's his duty to give his teammates the exact sets that they ask for, so he becomes a selfless setter. Surely that's a good thing, right? Well, Kageyama definitely thought so, but that all changed during a certain training camp where he met a certain player.
ちなみにトビオ君はなかなかトゲトゲしい第一印象やったけど、プレーはだいぶお利口さんよな。ああ。
Hatsumu is one of the best high school setters in the country, and Kageyama knows this. So what does it mean for him when Atsumu tells him that everything he has been doing is wrong? Does this mean he's still a failure? This dilemma nags at Kageyama. He's just been playing with some of the best players in the country, and when he returns to Karasuno, while his teammates are certainly good, there is an obvious difference.
あと朝日今日ダメだな。どうした？
くそ、すまん。トスは良かったよ。
じゃあ決めてくださいよ。
And Kageyama notices this, and eventually he snaps.
お、あのな影山、ちょっと試したい。
俺はいいトス上げてます。もっと決めてください。
Hang on a sec. The point of a setter is supposed to be to serve your team, to give them the sets they want. And that's what Kageyama's been doing, right? So what's wrong with this, you might ask? Well, the problem with what Kageyama has been doing up until now is that he was so afraid of history repeating itself that he overcompensated. He always gave his teammates the exact sets that they wanted, and in doing so, reinforced their bad habits. He knew he could push them higher, push them further, push them to be better, but that scared him. What if they hated him for it? And that was his dilemma. He wants to win, not just for himself, but for his team too. But how does he do this? What if he ends up becoming the old tyrannical king again? Fortunately for Kageyama, there was someone on the team that knew the value of the king of the court.
王様ってなんでダメなの？横暴だからだっけ？自己中だから？でもどっちみち影山が何言っても納得しなかったら俺は言うこと聞かない。
Kageyama had always been egotistical and prideful, but that's just the nature of a talented athlete. Unfortunately for him, his communication was poor and it resulted in a rather traumatic past. But at Karasuno, he was given the greatest weapon a setter could ask for. Not a super fast decoy, or a powerful striker, or even an amazing libero. What he found at Karasuno was a team that supports him, one that will make sure he's never alone.
新コート上の王様誕生だ
So the question remains, is Kageyama a failed setter? Well, the answer's not too different from real life. Humans make mistakes. That's a given. What's important is how we learn from them. In the same way, perhaps Kageyama's journey to becoming a successful setter is paved from lessons learned from his failures. Perhaps being a so-called failed setter is a necessary step towards greatness. There's no doubt that Hinata wouldn't be the player he is without Kageyama. But I'd argue the opposite is also true. Hinata teaches Kageyama that what he's been ashamed of can be something that he can be proud of. He learns that there will always be mistakes and setbacks, but his teammates will always support him. And so, he knows exactly the kind of setter that he needs to be. It might not be what works for Oikawa, and it might not even be what works for Atsumu, but for him, it's perfect. And with this, Kageyama goes from a tyrant to a servant to a king at last. And that's why Tobio Kageyama is the first member of the monster generation.